Hello everyone, on today's installment of Tater Tot Academy, we're going to be working on multiplying and dividing fractions. Yay! Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here with multiplying and dividing fractions. I'm going to give you a couple examples. We'll work through them, I'll explain them as we go. A few sample problems at the end, we'll be set to go. So here we go, our first one. That's 3/4 times 2/9. So let's go ahead and set this up. I'm going to write this in a little bit easier form. We're going to stack this at 3/4 times 2/9. So we have our 3/4 times 2/9. Whenever we have this, we can reduce straight up and down in the same one, so the 3 and the 4, the 2 and the 9, but they don't have any common things. But we can also simplify across from each other. So the 3 and the 9 will work perfectly together. So we can take that 3 and the 9, and the 3 becomes a 1, and the 9 becomes a 3, because 3 can divide into both 3 and 9. Okay, so we can put a 3 and 3 divided by 3 is 1, 9 divided by 3 is 3. Well, if we look, 2 and 4 are both even. They both are divisible by 2. So I can divide 2 by 2 to get 1 and 2 by 4 to get 2. Now all I have to do whenever I multiply and divide fractions is to multiply across the top and multiply across the bottom. So as I look at what's left, I have 1 times 1 on top, and 1 times 1 is 1. Across the bottom, I have a 2 times a 3, or 2 times 3 is 6. And bing, bang, boom, I'm done with 1/6. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at another one. And I know I'm not taking this from the very first steps. I'm jumping ahead a little bit with you, assuming you have a little bit of knowledge, and then we're just making it so that you can look back. Well, this one says 4/5 divided by 6/15. So 4/5 divided by 6/15. All right, let's go ahead and look at this. We'll write this out the easier way again. 4/5. And we will divide this by 6/15. All right, when we look at division, it's a little bit different than the multiplication. So when we are using division, there's an important step that we must use. So whenever we are going to use division, we have to use a reciprocal. Okay, so we have to use a reciprocal. So what that means is it's two numbers that when multiplied together, they equal 1. So if I'm looking at what the reciprocal of 2/3 is, it would be 3/2. A lot of times you've been told to flip them, but we want to know why we flip them. That's because we want the number that when multiplied by it will equal 1. So 2/3 will be 3/2. 3 times what? 3 times 1/3 is equal to 1. 5/4, well, that will be 4/5. So the reciprocal, yes, you can think of it as flipping, but what I want to have you think of and what we're going to call this is we are going to multiply by its reciprocal, because anytime you divide by a number, you are actually multiplying by its reciprocal. So if I'm dividing by 2/3, I'm actually multiplying by 3/2. If I'm dividing by 3, I'm actually multiplying by 1/3. Okay, so let's go back to the example we just had going. And we had 4/5 divided by 6/15. Divided by 6/15. So that means I need to multiply by the reciprocal of 6/15. And the reciprocal of 6/15 would be 15/6. So let's go ahead and rewrite that now. So now I have 4/5 times the reciprocal of 6/15, which is 15/6. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a look at what this will do next. Can we divide anywhere? Are any of these able to be simplified? And hey, look at that. I have a 5 and a 15. So the 5 will become a 1. And the 15, that one will become a 3. Because 5 divides into 5 once. 5 divides into 15 3 times. Oh, look, we also have a 4 and a 6 over there. Well, the 4 and 6 are both divisible by 2. So when 2 divides into 4, I have 2 left. And when 2 divides into 6, I have 3 left. Now, all we need to do is multiply across the top and the bottom. But whoa, wait, there's more. If you're looking up here, can we see what else is left? I have a 3 and a 3. And I think a 3 and a 3 are divisible with each other, aren't they? So that will be a 1 and a 1. So now, all that's left if I multiply across the top is 2. And if I multiply across the bottom is 1. And we don't ever want to write anything over 1, so we are just going to simply write 2/1 equals 2. For our next one, we're going to be multiplying and dividing mixed numbers. So we're going to have a mixed number. So I have 1 1/3. 1 1/3 times 2 1/4. Well, the first thing we need to do is turn these into improper fractions. It's not going to work to keep them as a proper one. We can't just multiply. We have to turn these into improper fractions. So I'll go 3 times 1 gives me 3, and I add the 1 from the top of it to give me 4. So I will have 4 thirds, because 3 times 1 is 3, plus the 1 on top is 4. We're going to do that to the same thing to the other side. So 4 times 2, because the 4 from the bottom is going to be multiplied by the whole number 2 to give me 8. And we're going to have that 1 extra there that we're going to add to it to give me 9. So that's going to be multiplied by 9/4. So I end up with 4 thirds times 9/4. Is there anything I can reduce here? Yes, the numerator 4 on this one will become a 1 with a denominator 4 on this one. So those two will cancel each other out. They will divide. 4 goes into both of them once. So we're perfect. The other one I have a 9 and a 3. Both are divisible by 3. So this 3 will become a 1. This 3 will become a 3. And as we multiply across the top and bottom now, I have 3 over 1. And as we said a second ago, we don't leave anything over 1. So that whole answer is 3. Okay, we got one last one. We got a division. So let's go ahead and turn this one just like we've done with the other ones. So 4 2/7, 4 2/7, divided by 2 1/2. And as we do that, we need to turn these into improper fractions just like we've already been doing. So I'm going to multiply the 7 times the 4 to get 28, plus the 2 to get 30. And I'll have 30 over 7. And then we're going to divide that by, I have a 2 times 2, which will give me 4, plus the 1 on top will give me 5/2. Well, as we talked about before, anytime we are dividing, we are actually multiplying by its reciprocal. So this says 37ths divided by 5/2. Well, we don't want to divide by 5/2. We want to multiply by its reciprocal. So let's rewrite this out the way it should look then. And we will have 37ths. But we are no longer going to be dividing by 5/2. We're going to multiply by its reciprocal. And remember, the reciprocal is what multiplied by 5/2 will equal 1? Well, 5/2 times 2/5 will equal 1. So 2/5 is its reciprocal. And then we can go ahead and see if there's any reductions that can be made here. So let's take a look. Anything to be reduced? 30 and 7, no. 2 and 5, no. But if we look, we have a 30 and a 5. And both of those are divisible by 5. So 30 divided by 5 is 6. And 5 divided by 5 is 1. There's nothing else that can be divided. I can't divide across the top with a 2 and a 6. Yeah, they're both even, but they're both on the top side. It has to be one from the top side and one from the bottom side to make that work. So we can't just take two numerators and divide them with each other, because that's what's going to be multiplied. So I'm going to multiply 6 times 2 to give me 12. And across my bottom, 7 times 1, and I'll have 7. We can use that as an answer if we want to keep it improper, or if we want to turn it into a proper fraction. We see how many times 7 can go into 12, and it can go in one whole time. And if I divide 7 into 12, I'm going to have 5 left over. So 1 and 5/7. So as I look through this, we're going to see that I've given you some sample problems to work on. Multiplying and dividing fractions, we just want to make sure that, first of all, if they're in improper form, we put them into proper form. If they're in a mixed number, we need to put them into an improper form. And all we're going to do is, if we're multiplying, is multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. So you're going to multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. If it's a division problem, then we have to, instead of dividing by the number, we have to multiply by the reciprocal. One of the easiest tricks to doing this is make sure that I simplify in the first place. So if I see any numerators and denominators that can be reduced, that have a common factor, I can pull those out. So why don't we work on these 5 problems, give them a try, see how you do, and on the next slide, you will have the answers. I don't leave much time on the next slide, so I'd hit pause right now so you can look at these 5 questions, get the answers, then you can check them with my answers that I have on the next page. And thank you for tuning in to Tater Tot Academy. This was multiplying and dividing fractions, just a few simple ones. Have a great day. Love having you here. here are your solutions.